what time it is. Welcome back to another episode of Thinker versus Speaker, where I, Marissa the Thinker, sit down with different guests and we talk about all things, anything, everything, life, love, relationships, spirituality, literally whatever we want to talk about. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things, you know what I'm saying, that you do. I'll let you know where to find me on social media a little bit after the fact. Now, with that being said, because we talk about any and everything, sometimes we do cover some sensitive topics. So, you know what I'm saying? Take this as your trigger warning. You know what I'm saying? If it's some things that you don't, I don't know what we're going to get into. So, if you're easily triggered, we respect it. Go ahead, do what you got to do. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and hop straight into it. My special guest today is my dad, and we gonna do something a little special to kick off season 2. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to give my dad a chance to be the host and ask me some questions so y'all can get to learn a little bit more about me. So how you feeling about that?
Oh, I'm feeling great.
How you?
We ready to get this thing started? I got some questions.
Yeah.
I always got a saying when I'm on here. I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Today we don't say she's saying what she's saying.
Okay.
So, you want to get on? You want to get started?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. My first question is, I just want you to tell me a little about yourself and let the listeners know, what makes Marissa do the things she do. When she was coming up, just give us a little bio.
A little bio. Okay. So, my name is Marissa. I'm from St. Louis, if y'all can't already tell by my accent. You know what I'm saying? I'm from St. Louis. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I grew up, I was I don't know, I guess I played like an interesting role growing up, because I was like quiet and shy and quiet, but like also at the same time, like I was very like personable. So it was kind of like an interesting balance that I played, where it was just like, you know what I'm saying, it was always easy for me to like make friends and stuff like that, but like I always like kept to myself for the most part. But like I was a band kid. I love band. I played clarinet and saxophone. Growing up, I like tried to learn piano, you know what I mean? And like I messed with the guitar for a little bit, but like really I think like I love music more than like anything, kind of. So I'm a real big like music head. I love music and those types of things, and yeah, just like talking and learning, and yeah, really like talking and learning. That's one of the biggest things for me. But like yeah, like I had a whole journey for real. Like how deep you want me to go?
Well, I mean, what about high school? What about grade school and high school? Tell us about your education, what you went through and stuff like that.
I mean, so I went to Danforth Elementary School. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like a regular. That's where I met my friend Cassidy. She had been on here one time before, but like you know what I'm saying, like elementary school, was like whatever. I was like one of the gifted kids, so like that was really like my reputation growing up in school, right? Like I was always the smart kid. I was a smart kid and a band geek, and like I started playing in band probably in like 4th grade. So like that's really like what I relied on, like going through school, was just being in band and just being smart, like being in honors classes and all those kind of things. It's kind of lame, but like I was also like a conflict mediator when I was in like the 5th grade. Like I was one of the people that they would call when like people was like about to have a fight, and like I was the one that would be like, let's talk this out rationally. So I did things like that, and then in middle school it was essentially the same. Just like band, school. I was always driven, you know what I'm saying? I was always just trying to like set my future up. I feel like that's always what I was. Like I was about my like schoolwork and so yeah, and in high school, I just kind of like switched over to tech, and that's where I learned how to draft, because that's one of those types of high schools where you get to learn a trade. And I learned how to draft. And like my brother, like I took the same shop class. Me and my brother went to the same high school, even though he's a little bit older than me. We had like the same teacher, all that kind of stuff. So I wound up learning how to draft. I fell in love with it. It was something about when we took those classes, because my junior year, right, you have to learn how to hand draft. So if you don't know what drafting is basically where really you could do a lot of things with drafting, but basically it's where you draw like buildings and interiors and like homes. It's technical drawing. So like, you know how you can draw art or whatever, we draw stuff that people need and they use. Like we make the types of drawings that are like functional for like, you know what I'm saying, construction or like legal paperwork. Because like what I do now is like, you know, drawings for like legal stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's that kind of thing. But the thing that I remember the most, like when I really fell in love with it, was like junior year. We had to draw like house blueprints by hand. Everything that we did that junior year, we had to draw by hand. And it was something about being able to just like lay that big old sheet of paper out and just put my headphones in and just draw those lines and like just create something like with my hands. I really just fell in love with it in time.
So I remember you were having a conversation with your cousin. She was an educator and administrator.
Right.
And
speak up a little bit.
And one of the things I wanted to ask you, like, is there any teachers that stood out when you went to school that you think that helped you or motivated you?
Ooh. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I have two teachers that are like truly memorable. I remember I had my 5th grade teacher. I want to say her name is Miss Coleman, but I think it definitely started with a C. And like when we were in the 5th grade, she was just like this like real. She was like this real like bright lady. You know what I'm saying? Like she was a bright lady. Like she would be she come with these like extravagant floral outfits on with the matching earrings and the matching shoes and everything like that. And it was just like you could tell that she loved what she did, and she also like loved each and every one of us. You know what I mean? So like she took like a personal investment, you know, in each and every one of us. So she was definitely like one of my like most memorable teachers.
I can relate to that because I remember when I was going to school, we had it was a younger teacher, and it's always a younger African American teacher that motivated you. You saw something in her. I guess the fact that she was young, so she was closer to your age, even though you were a kid, because you saw mostly old teachers, and then you was on a level with her, and it seemed like she could talk to you and teach you in a different way.
Right.
And her energy was different.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then I remember like when you was going to draft, and there was a teacher. What was his name? The teacher that did the draft?
Mr. Sanders?
Yeah. Because I think he wasn't one of y'all favorites.
He was cool. He was definitely cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? He taught us a lot. Like he was cool. He was a really cool teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like we learned a lot from him. Like he was a good influence. Everybody loved Mr. Sanders.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It seemed like.
Yeah, like absolutely everybody loved Mr. Sanders. I actually saw a girl that was in my shop class. She made a post the other day and she was like, she saw Mr. Sanders, he still looked the same. I was just like, man, you know what I'm saying? He's one of those teachers that you just remember. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely memorable. You know who's memorable too?
Who's that?
I was talking about him on the other episode with Ashton, Mr. Walsh.
Okay.
That you know, the band director.
Right.
When we were in middle school, so like he taught my cousin Talisha, who was on the show. He taught my big brother, and then he taught me too. And I remember he was actually one of the people that made me fall in love with band.
Right.
And this was even before I ever had him. You know what I'm saying? Because like I remember when we were little, and we used to go see Talisha like perform.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because Talisha, when she was in band, like they would be all over the place. Like they would be like in Florida, like they would be competing, they'd be everywhere, right? And like we go to the football games to see her perform, and like it was just something about them being out on the field and playing those instruments. And like when I was little, I just look and I'd be like, man, I can't wait till I can get out and I can do that. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait till, I get my time. And then even when Marcus was in band and he had like Miss Harper, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Because y'all had you ended up having 3 different band directors.
Right. Because by the time we got in band, we didn't get that experience. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same because our teacher was like fresh out of college. He didn't know what he was doing with us. You know what I mean? And like the program was nothing like what it was when Talisha was in it or when Marcus was in it. You know what I'm saying? That program essentially had been destroyed, like the infrastructure of it. You know what I'm saying? It didn't have the parent support that it had. It didn't have the financial support that it had. We wasn't doing no fundraisers and stuff like Marcus and them and Talisha and them was doing. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even get on the field and do any like field performances or anything like that. All we could do was fuck up a parade. You know what I'm saying? Like that was all that we essentially learned how to do.
So you can do a whole show on bands, but what about higher learning? Did you do anything in higher learning? Your education?
Well, I grew up in a bunch of like gifted classes. That started in the 4th grade, and a lot of the people that I talk to that go back to like my like through like high school stuff like that, they be in like those same gifted programs with me. So like you know what I'm saying, like that's where I met like Tiffany, stuff like that. So yeah, they pulled me out of like regular classes when I was in like 4th grade. And then I started taking like, like advanced classes and like little enrichment classes and stuff like that. So like that really just was like all I was on. It was just like, like my gifted classes, my honor classes, even when I was in high school, like it was important for me because like I was all about my college prospects.
Okay.
So, like I was taking like any advanced classes that I could take, you know what I'm saying? Like by the time we were in high school, like I was the only it was 3 of us in calculus, you know what I mean?
Okay.
One of those situations where it's like ain't nobody trying to take calculus. That, but yeah.
So we know about, coming up and little risky. But the other thing I wanted to ask you in question form is like you doing this podcast now that you're speaking on. I want you to kind of get into some of the reasons why did you want to do start a podcast.
Ooh, so how I got here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so really it was an idea that came to me out of nowhere. So I was kind of like lost for a bunch of years, right? So like I said before, I was like very, very driven, very, you know what I'm saying, knew what I wanted out of life and how to get it, just going through like, middle school, high school, you know what I'm saying, and even when I started college, because when I went to college, I had a lot of college prospects. Like I had, you know what I'm saying, like I had scholarships, I had a bunch of schools that I had got accepted to and things like that, but you know what I'm saying, the route that I had chose was just based off of what I thought I could do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't choose it based off of what I loved. I chose it off of like what sounds good and what I thought would like, you know what I'm saying, make me money. So that's really how I chose engineering, which is what I went to school for in the beginning, when I went to college for. So when I got to engineering school, like college wasn't what I expected at all. Right? It wasn't what I expected. Like that was my time, like where I was so focused and like all my childhood growing up, and I literally could do whatever it was that I want. You know what I'm saying? I just chose a path that seemed fun. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't as focused on where it was that I was trying to go in life. Like school was hard, you know?
You have to grow up too.
Yeah, school was hard. I didn't want to grow up. I'd rather just have fun. So long story short, you know, in time, you know, I wasn't putting in the work that I needed to put in when it came to school. And I ended up, you know what I'm saying, dropping out because I was just like, I ain't, you know, I'm not getting anywhere with this. And I became like a retail manager for years. And, you know, like I thought I enjoyed it, you know what I'm saying, because it worked. You know, it was something I was good at, and I was making decent money for the age that I was at the time.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And then eventually I decided to move from St. Louis to Texas, right? And when we moved to Texas, I hated the store that I was at. I hated everything about it. You know what I mean? And when you get to that point, you start reevaluating everything, everything that you was doing. So, what I wound up doing, I ended up switching jobs, doing what I do now. So essentially, I'm an illustrator now, and I ended up getting this job that I do now, and I started listening to podcasts because I had the free time to do it. I sit at a desk, right?
Okay.
So I started listening to podcasts, and the more that I listened to it, I was just like, I could do that.
I was wondering in the question when we were gonna get to
the answer.
Podcast. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just listen.
Yeah.
And see what's going on. But I'm hearing, you know, school and engineering and everything.
It was a journey. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? It did. Like, it took, because when I was in that place, it's just like, I'm figuring out what it is that I'm trying to do with my life. Mm-hmm. I have no idea, no clue yet. And, you know, one day it just comes to me like, I'm going to do a podcast. And then even after that, it was just an idea that I did nothing with.
You didn't know what you wanted it to be about.
Exactly. I didn't know.
I'm just doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on here and talk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, like the original idea, right, was, you know, I was a heavy smoker too at the time. Right, and it was trying to capture those conversations that you have when you just
pot fun.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like the thinker versus speaker.
Let's get fucked up and then throw some shit up against the wall. And it ought to be interesting. Anyway, you know what it was
in the beginning. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say that. What that was it was entertainment.
Right.
You know, but entertainment runs its course. Like, unless you're really, really good at it, like you're Richard Pryor or something like that.
Yeah.
That you can keep flowing on different stuff. You know, where if you want to be funny, you can make education funny. Mm-hmm. You can make politics funny. You can make sports funny.
Right.
You understand, you keep going, and so your shit is be so interesting. That people gonna keep coming
listening.
Back.
You have to have that personality. That people want to keep coming back to.
So you don't want it to be the same.
Right.
And I think that's where what you delving into now is you going to different places. Mm-hmm. You know, so every week it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And that makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Because you never know who you might get on your show. You know, you never know from week to week what you get, which is cool.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the idea, right? And it took time to get there because, you know, what I learned, frankly, I wish I would have learned it quicker, but what I learned in a relatively quick time is that when you hop into it, you got to have a strong concept. You know what I mean? And of course, everything takes time, but I didn't have a strong enough concept. You know what I mean? Because, like, it does get old after a while. If you just say, oh, we just gonna get on here and shoot the shit every week, it gets old. Because if you still talking about the same things every week, not being intentional about it, then people are gonna be like, what are they coming back for?
Right, but it was some good. It was some good show because I was listening to stuff like that, and it was good show. I mean, everybody gets something out of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody gets something out of something.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was bad. I think it was just a part of our process. You know what I mean?
We ain't putting it down. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
No, I don't think it. I mean, it is what I have. These are my feelings on it. You know what I mean? Because even after a while, like being where we were then when we started it versus where I'm at now, obviously it's a whole different show, right?
Right.
And what I had, it was just a process for me, really, because I don't even think. Well, you know what I get a lot of now when I introduce people to the podcast. People watched it in the beginning, and then they stopped watching,
and then they listen again.
And then they listen again, and they got attention in a whole new way. But what I really have to end up doing a lot of the time is being like, look, the show's not the same as it was. You know what I'm saying? The show isn't the same as it was. And like, if I'm gonna be honest, it's a little embarrassing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little embarrassing because, it was a representation of who I was then, but it doesn't reflect who I really am as a whole and who I am now.
I'm just saying, but now you got sisters on here, brothers on here, you got educated people on here, you got businessmen on here, you got people that do so many things and it's helping, and I don't even think that well, I know that you realize, but I don't even think that the people that get on here when they just talking, how they realize and they might be helping somebody. Like the guy with the moving company, if somebody listening to him, they, do his education and stuff like that, that'll motivate somebody young and black to get out there and start, just listening to people like that. Because we don't have that. I mean, that's why, like, things like this podcast is so important. And I hope that it get the listeners up to where it need to be. Because as black people, we don't have avenues and hear things just like the girl was. She was your friend. What was her? What was Tiffany? Her title? Yeah. What did she do?
She was a doctoral student.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. You're hearing these different things from people.
Yeah.
That like the average black kid don't even know what it is, and to hear her to come on and explain that.
Yeah.
It might be somebody, hear that one day and decide, that's what they want to do. And she might not even think on that level. She might just say, hey, I'm just getting on there, help my friend, we talking, I'm explaining myself. Or even what you just did, and just like this interview, it's going to be somebody that might want to start something and they hear you. And that's what, like, blacks, that's what we need, because we don't have enough of that.
Yeah. And that's why it's really important to me, and it became important to me over time, right? Because that wasn't the initial thought. And, the more that we talked about things, and, even in the beginning, like, there would be some things that we talked about. It wasn't all shooting the shit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we talked about deep things, because even at the time, I was in the midst of going to therapy and like truly working on myself, and I would talk about my journey,
right?
Going through that, and what I learned is that I was helping other people who felt, similar feelings to what I felt, and then it became something for me where it's just like, oh, I am helping people,
right.
And it's like that wasn't my intention, but I'm helping people. So now how can I really use this platform to help uplift and build people?
Even the brother that got on here and prayed.
Yeah.
That got on here and prayed and brought religion into something. That we ought to be having that religion in our daily life.
Right.
Just for him to take the time to pray is teaching everybody, like, look, these are the things that we need to do.
Right.
We need to put God first in our life. And those are the things now in your podcast that you introducing people to.
Right.
So that's why I say to look back on your old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. they serve the purpose to get you where you are now.
Yeah.
See, that's what people don't understand. You know, in order for people to move forward, they had to be somewhere. You know, in the beginning, in the inception of something.
Yeah.
So they can get where they are now. You gotta crawl before you gotta walk.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is. This was crawling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you walking, and then eventually you're gonna be running.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be videos of the podcast. It'll be showing pictures. It'll be getting more, you know, people that want to come on and do the same thing. For the fact that we talking about it, the fact that you putting guests on here that's talking about things that's meaning to society and jobs and how people feel and their emotions and stuff. It's a big thing, and you know what I'm saying? That's something to be proud of. And then my next question was,
right.
It had to do with qualifications.
Oh, okay.
You know, she wanted to know, do you feel like, or what qualifications do you feel like you bring to this that you can even do a podcast? So did you have things that you went through in your lifetime, or just give me the why that you even wanted to do a podcast? And I know I just want you to touch a little further on that.
Yeah, really, like, okay, I guess, like, technically, right, when you think about qualifications, you think of, like, degrees and, like, you know what I'm saying, paper knowledge and stuff like that. And to an extent, I don't really see myself having those things, right? But I think that's the beauty of my journey. I'm a person. Now, I have a personality for it. What I think I bring to the table is, yeah, that personality, that ability. I see myself as the bridge to people, because I have the type of personality where I'm open-minded enough where I want to, and I'm curious to talk to anybody, and I have an ability to get people to have conversations that they typically wouldn't, which I think is why we get to have a lot of the conversations that we have on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because people, we wind up talking about things that I don't expect to hear. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's just something about, you know what I'm saying, how I approach conversations. So, like, that's really why I feel like I do it. And it's just, this is what I love. I love just having conversations, you know, with people. I love asking them questions, trying to get into their mind and understand why people think the way that they think and do the things that they do. I'm passionate about that. I've always been an inquisitive person, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Probably to a fault. You know what I'm saying? Probably to a fault. Because I'll ask questions and then, you know what I'm saying, people will be like, you know, the people will feel a type of way off of some of the questions that you got. And you know what I'm saying? And even again with my personality, is like, I can say things. I can say things and I can keep it real, but people don't want to, like, you know what I'm saying? They don't trip because they get it.
But you understand, like, and this song is something else off the top of my mind. But when you said doing something you love, and I always equate stuff to sports, like, you know, me being a Cardinals fan, thinking about Jack Buck and Mike Shannon, and they was announcers. And you think they did that every day. They went to the ballpark and they just announced baseball, something they love.
Right.
Man, wouldn't it be great to be able to finance yourself and be able to do what you love? Mm-hmm. Man, it'd be so easy to wake up doing what you love. It'd be so easy to say, look, man, I'm doing this. It's not even work.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I'm just getting up talking and putting people on, hooking people up.
Yep.
And man, I'm doing this and I love this, man. And you know, I envy the fact that you're doing. Like I say, I want to be able to do something like this because I envy the fact that you're doing this, and it's something that you love.
Yeah. Yeah. And really that's why I do it. It's another reason why I do it, because this is something that I love. And my whole therapy journey was about, you know what I'm saying, I had got to a point where I didn't know why I was here. And it's just, I wasn't happy with myself and like where I was in my life and the decisions that I had made up until that point. And even with starting this podcast, like a switch flipped in my mind where it's just like, I'm gonna do what I love. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done what I don't like just to get by. So I want to do what I love, and not only do I want to do what I love, I want to sit down with other people that are doing what they love, and show people that you can do what you love. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can do what you love, but we gonna keep it a buck and let you know it ain't easy. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because you in the unknown. You know what I'm saying? You in the unknown. Like this whole process, if you know me, like I was shy. I didn't like to talk to people. I didn't like to put myself out there. I was scared of what people would think. And I had to let all of that go to be able to do this. And what it did is it revealed parts of myself that I had forgotten.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily that I didn't have. There were parts of myself that I forgot. And it made me tap back into all that. So then when I'm sitting down with people, it's just like, I'm talking to people every week. It's just like, oh, I'm not shy. I'm not shy at all. So it got me to a point now where you even think about what the process is. Right in the beginning, I wouldn't tell people that I did a podcast.
Right.
Now I can go talk to a stranger.
Scared.
Exactly.
But now what's that for what you just said, or was that, real talk? Was that the product that you was putting out there?
Both. It was both. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. It was both. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the things that we talked about weren't necessarily, you know what I'm saying?
That you want people to hear.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's things that I just wouldn't advertise on an everyday basis.
So basically, some of the things that you were putting out, it was for a certain demographic.
Right. It wasn't a true representation of me.
So you might not have wanted the people that you work for.
Right. To know what I'm talking about.
You wanted the street people to hear.
Right.
Am I close?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had put ourselves in a box.
Right.
At that point in time. You know what I'm saying? And now I feel like what I do is so much more authentic, because it's not like I could put it out to anybody.
This is what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Holla at me.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like at this point, it's just like I could go talk to a pastor. I'm not scared to let you know what I'm saying, anybody listen to it. You either gonna like it or you not.
I remember,
but I'm not embarrassed.
Right. I remember when we were first doing it, me and you, we because we was talking to each other like we was just talking, and we would do more cussing.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Because we wasn't acting like we were just, just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping it real, 100 buck being yourself.
Right.
And then you have to realize, like, hey, you know what? Other people listening to that.
Right. Yeah.
Other people, let me just get it a little bit. Let me calm down a little bit.
Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, see, now we got a message.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now we got a message, and it's not saying that I tone anything back, because on occasion we'll still cuss.
Keep it real.
You know what I'm saying? We'll still cuss. We'll still say what it is that we have to say. But you know what I'm saying? The way that I show up on a podcast is the way that I show up in real life.
But we ain't talking about nothing. This just information.
Exactly.
You just saying what you saying.
I'm saying what I'm saying. Exactly. And like, you know what I'm saying? And that other stuff, it was like getting personal. It's messy. I don't like talking about my business like that.
Yeah.
I don't like getting into all that. You know what I'm saying?
Because when you put like personal stuff out there.
Right.
Well, personal stuff ain't bad. But when you put negative personal stuff out there.
Yeah.
It's out there.
Yeah.
It's out there. You can't bring it back.
Yeah.
So whatever you want out in the world, I mean, you really want your best, not your worst.
Yeah.
Your worst should be in the closet.
Yeah.
I'm just real talk. It should be it's your secret, your heart, your worst.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like if you've done anything that you're ashamed of.
Right.
You ain't no use of putting that out there, but you can if you want to put it out there and say that I've learned from it.
Right. And that's the difference. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's the difference. And at the time, I would, even though it was all out there, I will say, like, I owned it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I grew from what it is that I would talk about. And even when I was talking about it, I was talking from the perspective of trying to, like, improve myself and trying to grow and things like that. So I don't really feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's nothing to feel bad about. I mean, it is what it is. Like I just said, you got to crawl before you walk.
Yep.
And then you got to run.
Yep.
And then it's a finish line. You know what I'm saying? That's in life. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? If you think about it, scratch the podcast. If you go back and listen to what you just said about your education and the things that you went through as a child and where you at now getting ready to be 30, you had to crawl.
Yep.
You learning things, you trying to get better. That's life.
Yep.
That's the life that we live. Mm-hmm. Like at my age, at gonna be 60 years old, if I'm still making the mistakes that I made when I was 30, then shame on me.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't know better. And that's just like you. When you doing it, you learn to not make the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah.
That's all.
You remember the other week, right? I'm gonna bring this up. You know what I'm talking about. So I had a opportunity presented to me, right?
Right.
Where it's just like it was a way to make some like quick money or whatever. But like I work a full-time job and I do this, and I'm passionate about this. This is something that I'm trying to grow into more things. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do more of what I love. Like we just said, I'm trying to do more of what I love. And what ended up happening is I got that opportunity, and the more I started to think about it, and the more that I started thinking, I was like, this is gonna pull me from what I love.
Right.
Like, yes, it's something that I can do and that I'm capable of and can be successful at, but it's not long term what I want to do. And in the past, I was impulsive. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the past, I'd just be trying to go for the thing that's going to get me out whatever situation it is that I'm in as fast as possible or as easy as possible.
Jump in and feet first.
Feet first, not thinking, you know what I'm saying, not pausing or anything. And it's just like I always end up having to dig myself out these situations later. And I sat with it and I thought about it and I prayed about it. I sat and I prayed about it and I was like, God, you gonna show me which way I need to go. And then it clicked and it was just like, you know what? You need to do your purpose and you don't owe anybody anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You owe yourself to do what's gonna make you happy. You owe yourself to do what's for you. Because in this whole process, I learned I don't sit back and ask myself, what do I want? I always try to do it. I always jump into stuff based off of what it's gonna look like or what people gonna think and trying to make other people happy. And it's just like, nah, what do you want? And even though the road that I'm taking, it might take a little more time and it might take a little more work and effort, I love what I do. And this is my path.
And on that note, I get to my second question.
This just a second question.
Nah, I'm playing. It's cut down to 4. I'm just saying this is real good. I like it. You say, what if anything would you like to gain from doing this? I'm saying this. I'm talking about the podcast. Is there anything that you would like to gain from this, or is it financially, or is it spiritually, or or for you personally, what would you like to gain?
At this point in my life, my main goal is to be in my purpose. So my main goal is to do the things that are going to be pleasing to God, for my life. And I feel like the podcast is a part of it, And, you know, bigger than the podcast, part of my goal is to help people. So I mean, on a regular level, of course, like I want, you know what I'm saying. If I could just do, if I could work for myself, you know what I'm saying. If this can get me to a point where I can work for myself, you know, I want to take it even further. You know what I'm saying. I want to be more than a podcast. Like, you know what I'm saying. Then it's just like, all right, now I want to give back. I want to put myself in a position where I can give back and help other people. You know what I'm saying? Where we can just continue to uplift people and guide them. So it's more about, when I say I want to work for myself, it's really so I can have more time to invest into other people and show them how to, you know, also live in their purpose and do what makes them happy and connect them to people. Because I want to be the bridge, essentially. Like that's my goal. I want to be the bridge to help people get connected with the people that they need to get connected with for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I will talk to different people, like, you know, who do different things. So that way, if it's somebody with that particular interest, you know where to go, or we can at least point you in the right direction of what type of resources, what type of processes you got to go through, what types of knowledge that you need. You know what I'm saying? Being able to see it with your own two eyes, because how many people think that they can't attain something simply because they haven't had an opportunity to see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And part of this platform is to show, like, you know what I'm saying, it is Black entrepreneurs out here. It is people that are successful out here. It is people that's living in their purpose out here. You know what I'm saying? Because we know, based off where we come from, we ain't get to see it.
Exactly. I agree with you. And that was quick. You went through that one real quick. You know. And then, like, what's your long-term goals for the show?
For the show?
Uh-huh.
Oh, long-term goals for the show. I want to, of course, make it a visual element to it. Mm-hmm. But I want to get to a point where we can do some things in studio. I want to start putting, like, panels of people together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Going beyond just that two-person conversation. Like, let's get groups of people together and start having more dynamic conversations, more in-depth conversations. Like, let's go to colleges, like, you know what I'm saying, have forums and like stuff like that. Yeah. You
know, wow. I see. I didn't think you was gonna come at me like that, but man, that's deep and dope. That'll be something to look forward to, or hear stuff like that. You know, that you can go to different high schools. Mm-hmm. Elementary school. When you said that, I was like, man, why not start in elementary school?
Because
in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff come. You know, I wanted to do, because when we was going to school, we didn't have people to come to our schools with information, being informative, showing you different stuff. And I wonder, why is that? Was it the fact that no one did it? Mm-hmm. Or did the fact that they didn't let nobody do it? But see, that's something we can find out.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's essentially the idea, right? Because, like, something else that I'm passionate about is those, I keep calling them electives, but, like, you know what I'm saying, those activities. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about our schools, and you think about electives, what you think? What you get?
It's been so long that I've been in school. I don't even know.
It's sports.
Yeah, okay.
You got, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you think
about...
Oh,
that's right. It was gym.
Exactly. You got.
Band.
Right.
Yeah, you right.
And we don't even got bands no more. Like, the arts ain't in our schools like that. They don't fund the arts.
I forgot, we used to have metal craft and wood craft and stuff like that.
Right, we don't have that like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, imagine if somebody took the time and went back into the inner cities, and it's just like, introduce kids to these things that they don't have. Woodworking, you know what I'm saying? Woodworking, you know what I'm saying? Robotics. Like, you know what I'm saying, programming, computer programming, stuff like that, getting their hands on it so they can find something that they interested in early. Because you know what I'm saying, what's happening to a lot of kids now is they get sucked into technology, they get sucked into like the social media worlds and stuff like that, and you know what I'm saying, they don't get to get that exposure to things that they could potentially fall in love with and be able to create a life with. You know?
I wonder though, like the YMCA and the Boys Club. I wonder, like, do they do those things? We just don't know.
Yeah.
That they do those things. But if we don't know, then don't nobody else know.
Exactly.
You know, that's the key to it. It's like that's bad advertisement then. You know,
yeah.
if we don't know and kids don't know and blacks don't know and Hispanics don't know, like what's the whole purpose of doing it? Or are they doing it at all?
Right. It's exposure to exposure to resources. You know what I mean? It's being able to expose you to
Man, that's a good question. I'm just saying, man, it make you want to just look in it and figure out where you could be helpful with.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's really what I think is important for our communities, is filling the gaps, because we know the gaps are there, but who's going to fill them? You know what I'm saying? We know who's not going to fill them. So to me, that means that we have to find a way to create these and fill the gaps and introduce people to these resources, because the resources, for all we know, could very much be there, and we just don't realize that they're there. You know what I mean?
Because I remember, you know, growing up, because you was talking about electives, and I wasn't thinking on that level, but then I was thinking, man, I remember they had auto shop.
Right.
And they had electrical, they had AC, they had all these plumbing, they had like all these different things they was teaching people. And then they don't teach you nothing.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, man.
Not unless you go to a school like I went to.
Right, but like, well, you watch that probably in 10 years that's not gonna exist.
What I took the shop that I had isn't there anymore.
Oh really?
You know? Like, and you know the crazy part about it, now that you say, you're making me think about it, even with these things, right? Y'all asked me a long time ago when I started doing what I do now, why didn't I just come out of high school doing what I do now? I didn't know it was an option.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, even if kids take these classes, say you go to school and you work at you learn how to work on a car, right? It's just like, are they telling you that you can go out and you can?
Yeah, because you still got to get the qualifications and everything.
We get them though.
Oh, for real?
We get them. I could have came. I did not have to go to college to do exactly what it is that I do right now. I could have came right out of high school and did exactly what I do right now. And you know what I'm saying? And actually, all of the people that I work around, I'm the only black one. All of the people that I work around in that place, that's exactly what they did. The only people that didn't do that are like the owners, because they went to school for like business.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So, but everybody else, they just got out of high school and started their life and did what they do now, and they get paid what they get paid, because we work in trades. So we get paid based off experience. You know what I mean? It's just like every year I become more valuable. Every year that I do that job, I become more valuable. And it's just like they don't push these trades like they, you know what I'm saying, like they as valuable as they are. They tell you go to college, go to college, go to college. Now I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with going to college, but if that's not what makes you happy, right? And if you're not going for something that makes you happy, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? If you be happier working on cars, or you know what I'm saying, doing whatever other trades it is, like, you know what I'm saying, you might as well go do that, and you could be more lucrative. But they don't tell you that. They tell you got to go to college.
Well, because I look, Because college, man, college ain't giving you. If you ain't a doctor, a lawyer, something that on that realm, all college doing is teaching you how to think faster than the average person. They teach you how to organize better. Because they figure, like, if you can go to school for 4 years and take all that direction,
right,
you can help run their company. That's all. You can help run their company. They saying the people with a high school education that if that's all you want to do, then you could be a grunt.
Right.
Then that's what they tell you when you go look for a job. They say the nice job that's gonna pay a little bit more. They say you gotta have a college education. You gotta have some high school education. You can drive a forklift. That's it. All that other stuff is saying that your ass went to school for 4 years, paid $100,000 to take directions, and you gonna go and help run this man's company and make him a millionaire, and you not gonna be a millionaire. But people getting slicker than that now. People starting their own businesses.
Yep.
People doing their own things with their college education.
Because that's the only way they was gonna get an opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And they just getting smarter with that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why a lot of people are in the position that they are in now. Like, even I saw two things, right? One thing Talisha said, you don't even have to have a college degree to be a teacher anymore.
Right.
And then another thing that I saw an article where it was saying that fewer jobs now are requiring a college degree. Because even they are realizing, you know what I'm saying? Because it's getting to a point where it's just like college is expensive, and with the job markets and the way things work out, it's not even worth it. You know what I'm saying? It is to some people depending on what your major is, but in some cases, people will go get a whole college degree, put themselves in debt, and still be working the same job that you wouldn't have worked if you didn't go to college. Right. So now you just in debt that you can't get yourself out of, and you can't get a job.
So we down to 2.
Alright.
We down to 2. And you pretty much answered this one. They say, is it anything that you would change on your show, so on your podcast? Is it anything you would have done different if you had to do it again?
There's nothing that I would have done differently, but I did learn some major lessons. So I have some regrets, but I learned from them, if that makes sense.
You want to talk about
So, I would have put in a lot more research before I started doing the show. I would have probably took my time getting everything right. But at the time when I started it, I was trying to
just get it up.
I was trying to get it up. I was trying to accomplish something, because when I was at a point in my life where it was just like I had the mindset of I start things and I don't see it through to the end. So me getting the podcast started and on the air was me seeing something through to the end. So that really was the initial goal, you know what I'm saying, when we first launched the podcast. Now, you know what I'm saying, it's not like I didn't put in work. Like, of course I put in work. It was a lot of work to, you know what I'm saying, figure out what we was gonna talk about, what's the theme, getting the artwork, you know what I'm saying. I did all that, you know what I'm saying. So like I got the artwork like done. Like I had one of my friends doing the artwork, you know what I'm saying, finding the thing, and I was doing everything off my phone. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no fancy microphones, you know what I'm saying, studio setups, you know what I'm saying, Ruby barking in the episodes, you know what I'm saying. Dude had his fire alarm beeping in the background. You know what I'm saying? And it just is what it is, and we rocked it out.
And y'all had that automatic cougher. Remember that automatic cougher you go.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah.
They had that too.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. So it was. I probably would have just spent a little more time fine tuning things, but you know, we already said it in this episode. I'm impulsive.
Right. But it is what it is. I mean,
exactly.
you know,
I learned from it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If and what I get from that, because there will be other projects, right? My life ain't gonna start and end with the podcast.
Right.
And
it's a life lesson.
It's a life lesson.
How to do something.
When I step into something, I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna make sure that I get my ducks in a row before I really put that out there. Because even again, like I said, like now when I introduce this podcast to people, I be like, have you heard it before? And if you heard it before, when did you hear it?
You be praying and saying that.
And
yeah,
most
I heard
of the time,
the first episode.
That most of the time, that's what people say. They heard the first episode.
I heard the one where dude slept with 18.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. So a lot of it be that kind of thing, but you know what I'm saying? I don't regret it. Like I said, I learned from it. And even the things from back then, it's just like that's where I was. But I was going through a process. I was learning, you know?
Right. Oh, I get it. Makes sense to me. And then the last, it say your show changed from when it first started. What happened and why?
What you mean? What happened? What you asking? The big bomb drop. The big question. The big question that ain't nobody asked me.
Right, I'm just saying that people might want to know, you know, how you go from going from one way to the other. So I can explain. You know, it's just sometimes things happen where you just have to go a different way.
Yeah.
And then you have to, learn from the way you went, do something different. You have to grow up if you want something that's yours to grow.
Mm.
You know, you have to step up in there and do stuff yourself, you know.
Yeah. You know what I can say? Real talk. And this, in my mind, this is how God works. That situation, when I had the idea for the podcast again, like I said, I was driving down the highway on my way home, coming home from where I work now, right? And I was just like, man, I can do a podcast. That was the first thought. And the second thought is, well, I can't do it by myself. That was the second thought. First thought is I can do a podcast. Second thought is I can't do it by myself.
You didn't think you could carry a podcast by yourself.
I didn't.
Because of the way you work.
Exactly. And God showed me that I can. You know what I'm saying? And all of those things, I think, worked out that way to show me just how strong I am and just how capable I am on my own. And that I don't need anybody else. I don't have to put my hands in my future in somebody else's hands. You know what I'm saying? Like my success or failure will never be deemed by another person. It's gonna be deemed by me, myself, my actions, and my mindset.
Cause it like I say, I don't know. I don't ever see when two people doing something. You know, even like your mom, like she doing a candle thing, and it's hard. Like, and I try to tell her, like, you doing that,
right?
Because it's hard when two people, 2 minds or 3 minds come together. Who gonna make the final decision?
Right.
You see? And if something yours, you know, like with anything, if it's something your house, you take care of the house the way you want to. If it's your car, you take care of the car the way you want to. If it's your body,
right.
You take care of your body the way you want to. Whether you're gonna go see a doctor or not, that's up to you.
That's up to you.
And that's all I'm saying about this. If something that's yours, then you have to take control of it. You know, because you wait to that. Because it's so easy when it's 2 people, and then it's a decision you don't want to make. You want somebody else to make that decision.
Exactly.
And then you want somebody else to help.
Right.
But then you want the credit
Right.
when stuff going good.
Yeah.
Well, you have to take the credit when it's bad and when it's good. And then
you can't pick and choose.
Exactly.
You can't pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? And like that was the part. You know what I'm saying? Because after a while, you get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like one of those things where you have to choose. You know what I'm saying? You have to choose. And this is me giving advice as a leader. Like you do have to be the one to make the final say, and you have to be able to know if something, like you have to be willing to know what sacrifices to make for the highest good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we went in a different. I was changing. You know what I'm saying? When I started it, I was at my lowest point. You know what I'm saying? I was at my lowest point, coming back from an ankle break and a breakup. You know what I'm saying? Just immature and just lost in the sauce. And you know what I'm saying? And I start this thing, and I start going to therapy. I start working on myself. I start realizing the type of control that I have over my life. And before I know it, I've grown, I've changed, I'm matured. Really, if you listen to the evolution of Thinker versus Speaker, you can see me mature. That's why I don't regret it, because that's where I was. You know what I'm saying? I can't throw that away. That's where I was. That's who I was. That's what I was on. That's what I let rock out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if I say, oh, that wasn't a representation, yes, it was, because you know what I'm saying? Today, is that out there? No.
So you was at your lowest point when you broke your leg. How you break your leg?
I went roller skating. And I had told myself that I wasn't gonna roller skate when I was about 13, because I knew I bust my ass. I knew I ain't had no good balance. I knew I would bust my ass. But I'm a people pleaser at heart, and I was trying to people please, and before I knew it, that crack, and after that, you learn how to not be a people pleaser.
So you learned something from that.
I did, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And really, even with the ankle break, like I was forced to sit down, because I you literally can't do anything else. So I was forced to sit down, and I was forced to sit down in a situation that was not ideal.
And so you also saw a relationship that you was in that wasn't for you too. So
yeah.
So some ways it helped. You learn 2 life lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Because like the thing about a traumatic situation like that is like, because the ankle thing is traumatic because you know what I'm saying. I'm a person that's prideful at heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm a person that's prideful at heart. Like I'm the type of person where it's just like, I ain't asking you for shit. I don't want nothing from you. I get it myself. You know what I'm saying? And I was literally put in a position where I had to depend on people, and the people that you thought was gonna show up for you didn't. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Then you also had the opportunity to see who did show up for you and who did have your back. You know what I'm saying? So it's hurtful, and you know what I'm saying? It sent me down the road. It wasn't pleasant. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, like I'm the type of person, right? I'm the type of person that's prideful and don't want help from somebody. But I'm also in a situation where somebody is saying like, essentially like, you need me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you need me, and it's taking full advantage of the fact that I did. You know what I'm saying? And like that does something to you mentally. And you know what I'm saying? That did cause me to get to a place where I just wasn't, I was lost. I didn't know who I was. I lost my identity in my relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then I was in a situation where I was literally immobile.
So look here. That's my 7th question. On Speaker versus Thinker. The 2nd season. The 1st episode. Come on out, y'all, and listen to the Speaker versus the Thinker.
Oh, it's flipped because you did it. Is that why you flipped the name?
But let's come on now and listen at it for the whole nother season. Hope to get more followers. Hope to get more listeners. And Rissy will tell you what to do to listen and follow. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And I want to thank you for coming on and doing the hosting for us. It was definitely a lot of fun being the one that's getting asked the questions instead of asking all the questions. So thank you. I appreciate that. It was definitely a great conversation. I enjoyed it, and I hope y'all enjoyed it as well. So if you did, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, put somebody else on to the next episode. We on season 2, and if y'all know me by now, it only gets better from here. I got some really, 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 really good episodes coming up. I'm talking to my cousin next week. We got Dr. Talisha Kelly coming through. She's a school administrator. We gonna talk about, you know what I'm saying, what it's like to work in a school in this climate with all this violence, and you know what I'm saying, and how they prep for like these, active shooter situations. My cousin actually went through one of them situations, so we're gonna talk about it. So definitely make sure y'all tune in next week for that. Again, if you like this episode, do the things. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find me at MarissaY17 on Instagram, Marissa the Thinker on Facebook and YouTube. You're looking for Thinker versus Speaker, it's going to be Thinker versus Speaker on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the things. So you know what I'm saying? Make sure you reach out there. If you want to come on the show, you got something that you want us to talk about, you want to share your story, anything like that, definitely make sure you reach out to me. I'll always respond. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Anything else before we get?
No, thank you very much.
All right. On that note, later, y'all. Appreciate it. See y'all next week.